Right, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel and welcome to the week. Welcome to Monday. I got a couple of announcements to make just before we get into today's episode. The first announcement is I'm going fishing tomorrow and I'm going all day long. So this is mostly to the members. I know I usually notify you of any positions or changes I make to any positions in real time. But as you can appreciate, I am not going to be here tomorrow. So I assume nothing bad is going to happen, right? At least we've got the weekend's deep dive, so everyone knows the levels at which I'm watching. I am very confident when I say, for the most part, unless something really bad happens, unless the sky starts falling tomorrow, there's not going to be any changes to be made. But as I'm sure you can appreciate, it's going to be quite difficult for me to be trading whilst fishing. So, just in case you haven't seen the weekend's video, go back and watch that. Make sure you know your levels, and I'm sure by Wednesday, nothing is going to have changed too significantly. And in the interest of making sure everyone's got some daily content, I have a risk management video which is coming out tomorrow whilst I'm fishing. So make sure you watch that. The reason I've put it in all caps here is because it is probably one of the most important videos I'll ever make. Risk management is the key to successful trading. Everyone thinks it's TA and a strategy and all of this. It's not. It's not macro. It's not any of that stuff, okay? It is risk management. This is the number one thing people get wrong. This is the number one thing that keeps people from being profitable in their trading accounts. So if you haven't seen that, make sure you tune in tomorrow and watch the risk management video. And if you have seen it, then honestly, it can't hurt to watch it twice. If you approach tomorrow's video with the idea, with the philosophy that risk management is a discipline, not a skill set, okay, you should be able to vastly improve your trading profitability if you can apply this and have the discipline to stick to it. So activate windows. Purple tie means we pump. All-time high break on Sunday. This is the most supreme left curve alpha you are going to find anywhere online. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's get into this. Here is Bitcoin versus the money supply forming a bullish crossover on the Tekkan Sen and the Kijun Sen for the first time since 2017. You'll also notice we have a breakout at the hard right edge here against the M1 money supply. Okay, Bitcoin doing Bitcoin things, super duper uber bullish. We also have the 1 month average directional index above 20 for the first time in over a year. Above 20 signals an active trend, which might only just be getting started. Again, tells us to keep an open mind about better than expected outcomes walking forward. Absolute banger of a chart here from Nasco. Bitcoin, in the case of a breakthrough of the all-time high, it is likely to see a lot of strength and move up rapidly, even without a retest of the breakout. At least that's what the candlesticks from history are showing. You can see this fractal right here, taken from here, tells us if this pump is to repeat, we could be looking at Bitcoin adding 158k plus to its Bitcoin price from the current levels over the next 120 days. This would put us somewhere in the neighborhood of 220k. Can this thing repeat? Can this all-time high break occur? And if it does, even the pullback that I've been calling for might not come anywhere near the prior all-time high of 69k. This backtest implies that we might be backtesting 90-ish k, 94k, before then we start to snap into the numbers that everyone has been dreaming of for at least a couple of cycles. Again, I still think this would be the path of max pain, as I see an awful lot of people telling me that the triple top is a thing, that this is going to be a fake out that rolls over. Of course, that's on the table. We can't rule that out as a possible outcome, but I also see a lot of people talking about diminishing returns, and I really think this is how you cause them the most amount of pain. So as ever, one day at a time, but pause your screen, take a good look at this chart. This is a really, really nice chart. And again, it tells us to keep an open mind about better than expected outcomes walking forward. So a big question here is the forecast model worried about Bitcoin's recent volatility? And the short answer is no, it is not. Currently, we are estimating a 92% chance that Bitcoin's price is higher than it is now in 6 months' time. Again, it tells us to keep an open mind about seeing this green metric roll over and the white, which is the price, move higher. On Friday, Bitcoin's spot trading volumes went through the roof on Coinbase, and that is before we'd even convincingly broke the all-time high level. Again, tells us to keep an open mind about a frenzy unfolding in the not too distant future. This Bitcoin bull cycle has only experienced small corrections so far, thanks to the institutional capital flows. You can see we had massive drawdowns, massive drawdowns, massive drawdowns, massive drawdowns, and here we are at the hard right edge, okay? Barely a drop in the ocean. Now, let me make this really, really clear. I do think a 30 or 40% drop is coming. But first, I think we're going significantly higher. I think we're going to snap up. I think we're going to pull back massively. I'll show you this in the charts in a minute into a weekly cycle low that is what everyone is going to think is the end of the world, and then we're going to rocket one leg higher. So I'll show you that in a minute. For now, though, this is data. The data says we have not had any significant pullbacks, and I honestly see a dangerous narrative emerging in the form of people saying things such as the ETFs are here, they're never going to allow a large drawdown again. I think that's a very dangerous way to approach this, and I would actually caution against this type of thinking. If that's the case, then it will be nice and easy to deal with. But if you're not prepared for a 30, 40, or even 50% pullback at some point, a violent shakeout to buck people off the trend, then you are not going to be able to weather that storm should it occur. So please don't make the mistake of thinking just because the ETFs are here and the institutions are here, we're not going to have a violent shakeout. We almost certainly will, in my humble opinion. And the fact that we haven't yet almost feels a little bit like they are training and conditioning retail to expect no significant pullbacks and shakeouts. So we'll find out, right? We're going to find out as ever, one day at a time. But when I show you this chart in a minute, you're going to be able to see, right? Up, violent shakeout, and go. That is my current base case expectation. When we hop in to Newpool, net unrealized profit and loss, Bitcoin's most convicted holders are still holding at an unrealized profit level that usually occurs well before the cycle peaks. So if I draw your attention to this metric here, right, we move into green and then into blue, and then this metric rolls over, and it is upon the rollover that we start to see the top come in for Bitcoin. The same here, right? We go from green into blue, and then it rolls over, and as it rolls over, we see the top come in for Bitcoin. The same is true last cycle as well. Green into blue, rolls over, and we see the top come in for Bitcoin. And if you look at the hard right edge, we are in green at the moment, about to progress into blue potentially, before then rolling over. And it tells us again to keep an open mind about better than expected outcomes walking forward for the price of Bitcoin. So there's plenty of space here to continue this run higher. I saw this from Chase today. He has a similar idea to me. He says you don't get into this box until after some expansion above all-time highs, in his opinion. He's thinking 70 to 80s before the mid-50s, and he's been long from 60K. So I kind of agree with this, but I think we go higher, okay? And I think the pullback does not breach the prior all-time high. I think best case scenario, we backtest or chop this 69K level and go. And as I showed you with NASCAR's chart, it's entirely possible we move a lot higher and end up backtesting somewhere in here. But in either case, I believe the dip from top to bottom, whether it's like that or whether it is like this, okay, is going to be a minimum of 30%. I would be surprised if it is not 40 or perhaps even larger than 40%. The reason I say that is laws of averages. Okay, historically speaking, Bitcoin has always had multiple 30 and 40% pullbacks along the way during bull markets. And given that we've only had 15s, 20s, and I think maybe 125 this time around, to me, it only makes sense that we are going to resolve this with a pendulum swing in the opposite direction, with a balance and a restoration of averages. And as such, we are going to see a violent 30 or 40+% pullback at some point in the not too distant future. I think that pullback is going to buck a lot of people off trend. A lot of people are going to be not ready for that. They're going to be expecting to buy the dip at 20%, and then it's going to keep going. Like I said, be open to all outcomes, okay? So here we sit at $71,250 for one single Bitcoin. As you can see, we are breaking out of the all-time high level. I have this fractal here, right? This fractal, as I've shown a few times, says we're possibly going to run to around 90K, get that pullback to backtest the all-time high into a daily and weekly cycle low, and then we've got the final leg higher. If I hop in here and zoom in a bit, you can see we are now convincingly breaking above the all-time high. So if we can close a daily candle above this all-time high level, it tells us to keep an open mind about better than expected outcomes walking forward. You can also see, if I get rid of my yellow squiggle, that's more or less played out, that we are on our way to a daily cycle low due around the 8th of April. Tells me, again, to keep an open mind about seeing this kind of shape into that daily and weekly cycle. The reason I think this shakeout is going to be quite violent, the reason I'm saying it's going to be more than 20%, possibly 30 or 40%, is because we are due a weekly cycle low and we are very late in this cycle. Given that we've broken all-time highs, it's only reasonable to expect a big push up to emerge. And of course, knowing we're this late in the weekly cycle tells me to keep an open mind about seeing a violent shakeout into that daily and weekly cycle. So for now, long and strong, let's not get too cute. Let's not try to get bucked off the trend here. Let's expect the unexpected and continue to ride this trend. If I hop back into this fractal chart and I zoom out, you will notice, particularly if you're a channel OG here, okay, this is our first angle of attack here. Our second angle has likely been set here. And if this is to play out, okay, up, down and up, we will indeed be setting our third and final angle of attack. Some people have been asking me, why is it that I don't count this as the third and final angle? And the reason is this is too small, okay? Now, if we keep going up like this and this and this for ages, and then we break down, then I have no problem selling that third angle. But as it stands, this is far too small. It doesn't look like a true parabola like this. So I would expect to see something much more like this out of that daily weekly cycle low. And then from there, we will have to entertain a third and possibly, if we go bananas mode, even a fourth angle, something like this. But for now, like I said, this has been the plan for a while. We're sticking to it until it's proven wrong. And apparently we are in the process of setting our third and final angle. So it's going to be really, really important to try to get this right. For now though, let's see if we can convincingly hold above that all-time high break for Bitcoin. All of this is seemingly being fueled by that Dixie collapsing into that 3-year cycle low. So this is what we wanted to see. This is what we've been expecting to see since the top. Happy days so far, right? We will continue to see if this plays out. I'm targeting the mid-90s as per this blue line. So far, so good. Of course, this dollar weakness is seemingly fueling gold to the upside, although we know that we have got a pullback into a daily cycle low and an opportunity to add there. So going to be keeping an eye on that this week. Out of that daily cycle low, I'll be talking about adding the miners and silver positions potentially. Outside of that, these crypto-related equities are going to gap up. Yep, there you go. Okay, Coinbase gapping up. I bet MicroStrategy also going into bananas mode. This is the power of trend lines. They keep you in the trade until it becomes unreasonable to stop pushing them. Riot gapping up. Does that mean we're not going to have to pay a stop loss? That would be hilarious to me that we managed to dodge it by... That's one of the tightest misses I've had in a very long time. So that's pretty funny. Anyway, like I said, we'll let the stop do the worrying. We'll see if we get the bounce and we'll see if these positions can follow through. Seems like they're coming out of a half cycle low and they want higher for now at least. So that's nice to see. And of course, we'll see what happens with the stock market. I'm noticing the VIX. The VIX is up. Okay, so let me check the futures. Got a little bit of red in the futures, a little bit of softening. So we will see. Is that normal and to be expected if you've been on this channel? Yes. Why? Because we know we're getting late in this daily and weekly cycle and we want to flush. So interesting to note here, the first thing that catches my attention is these crypto-related stocks have not been following Bitcoin, have they? They've been far more correlated to the stock market, right? And a lot of people have been complaining and stressing and saying, how come Bitcoin keeps going up and these are going down or sideways? Now notice that we get an all-time high break for Bitcoin and those crypto-related stocks suddenly all want to moon higher, okay, at open at least. This is the implied open, gapping up and continuing to the upside. Meanwhile, all of that is in the face of some stock market weakness, for now at least. So again, one day at a time, let's see if we can hold supports. If we don't, then we know what comes next, right? Daily and weekly cycle lows in focus. We still have this Dow Jones long, but it seems to me like if we take out the low, which is down at 38.4 and change, and was printed on the 5th of March. We take out that and I will walk away with a profit here. I'm going to give it a little bit more space just in case it decides to turn up because I got out of my NASDAQ and S&P positions a little early and I still have the Russell 2K position, of course. So overall, right? Overall, welcome to the week. Don't get bucked off trend, okay? Know your levels, manage the risk around those trend lines. They're incredibly powerful. Forgive me for not being here live in the moment tomorrow, but you know, from time to time, I gotta go fishing. There's a time to be in the market, there's a time to be out of the market, and there's a time to go fishing. Right now, I don't think there's a great deal to do, apart from continue to push these trades until they become unreasonable to continue to push them. I'm your boy Camel. Welcome to the week, welcome to Monday, welcome to the wildest time to be alive in a very long time. I hope you're doing well in life. God bless. Until next time, take care from me. All the best. Cheers. Bye.